feel like whenever I say hello to the camera, it's like SpongeBob being like that episode where he's like normal and it's like, hi, how are you? Hi everyone, how are you? See, I can't even fucking do it. Okay, so today's video, I didn't want to be anything like where I'm crying or I'm explaining shit in my life, but I want this to be a conversation because there's some stuff that I do want to talk about that I've been putting off talking about. I've been putting this video off a lot in general because I knew this was just gonna be hard for me to do. At first I planned to explain this entire situation, I'm sure with the title and everything. I planned to go in full depth and detail, but honestly I tried doing that 3 times. My memory card and my camera battery could not handle it. So I decided to just give a brief summary and then talk about what's going to be going on my channel, a much shorter video and less time wasted. So let's talk about what happened since my last video. Again, I'm going to keep some things vague and summarize for the sake of time. So when I filmed that last video of my face before the trailer for Hands Up, and I'm going to talk about that in a second too, a lot has happened at home. If you did not watch the abuse story video, I'll have that linked in the description and up in the card over here. But basically I was talking about my abusive situation with my older sibling. This is the last video that I will make for now talking about this. I don't want my channel to be this negative place where like every time you come here it's like I'm gonna me basically crying. I shouldn't be laughing, I really fucking shouldn't be. So when I made that video, it was a time to vent. Because I cannot talk about this with my parents. I have come to realization and am coming into terms of acceptance is that my parents have known about me being abused by my older brother, and they've been in complete denial about it for years. So to sum up the last couple of months since I uploaded that video, in August I found out that after my brother had moved out 3 years ago, almost at the point, he was going to come back home. He was going to move back here. This was brought up at a family get-together over a brief conversation. My mom told somebody else. It was not told to me. I later found out that they were eventually going to tell me once it had been finalized. It was still in question because my brother was getting, he was getting a job interview to get a job back down here where I live in the main valley. He got the job and he decided to move back in with my dad. When my brother moved out, he moved in with roommates, but apparently he needs to come back and live with my dad to get on his feet. Yeah, I don't get it either. Purely capable of living on his own because he did for 3 years, but no, he needs to get, anyway, like, moving on. So he comes back here, literally the last day. He's moving his things back in here. A small little thing happened with him and my boyfriend, well, not my boyfriend directly, where he blackmailed me, kind of. I was talking to my dad about how him moving back makes me uncomfortable. I think it is an extremely bad idea, and I was mainly pointing out this is for me, my mental health. They have ignored so much of what my therapists, past and present, have told my parents about how him being around me affects me greatly, because that's a crazy fucking concept apparently. And long story short, my dad was moving from one city to another city and my brother was going to live with him in another city, and right before he left I was taking care of his dog Stevie. If you follow me on Instagram you know who Stevie is. And Eric came over to the apartment that day that I was taking care of Stevie because we need to talk about something serious. I'm not going to talk about what we were talking about. But eventually Eric had to go, we weren't done talking, so we went outside of the apartment and Patrick came home halfway between our conversation. I did not bring my phone and my keys with me when we went outside to go talk in his car privately, and then when we were done talking, Eric walked me back up to the apartment door. Patrick had left and I was locked out, and I started freaking out because I'm there to take care of Stevie, an animal who's alive. This is not just me being locked out, there's an animal that I need to take care of, fam. So I ended up using Eric's phone to call Patrick and tell him, hey, you locked me out of the apartment, can I please be let back in to take care of Stevie? That's all I wanted to do. So with that conversation with my dad the night before this happened of me talking about how this affects my mental health, I was again reminding him he's abusive. Patrick then tells me that if I truly want to be let back into the apartment, I have to tell my mom and dad that I now feel comfortable and completely safe around him, and then he will let me back into the apartment. I agree to this because there is an animal's life at stake, and that is the only reason. I later on told my parents about this, and they do not, to this day, think it was that big of a deal. It's like, well, no harm done, Stevie was fine, move on. A few more days down the line. I know a lot of you live in the UK, so you may not be totally up to date on this, but if you aren't following American politics, if you don't know who Brad Kavanaugh is, he is, well, now he's part of the Supreme Court. He was the Supreme Court Justice nominee by President Trump. A woman named Dr. Christine Blasey Ford came forward and accused him of sexual assault. The day that she was testifying before pretty much the entire country on film of her allegations against Brad Kavanaugh, like, just, it was all anyone talked about or heard about on the internet, in person, news, whatever. I feel very conflicted on, I don't want to get too deep into this, but I know a lot of people either do or don't, or are in the middle about believing Dr. Ford. I'm that person who's in the middle, but as I was seeing her testify in front of this court, and I was seeing her talk about these alleged events that happened to her. Again, I'm not completely sure whether or not if she was completely telling the truth or like what exactly happened, because we don't know. But I remember that feeling of telling people what happened to me and people not believing me. And I remember the feeling of just immense like hurt when you have the guts to tell somebody your story and they just don't believe you. That has happened to me so many times. Even though my brother's admitted to doing things to me, my parents have also at very rare times acknowledged that he has done things to me, and then they immediately go back to denial because then they realize what's going on. So on that day when she was testifying, my brother was literally moving the last of his boxes into my dad's now old apartment where he locked me out from taking care of Stevie. I was watching her and everything that she was doing, and again, I'm not sure whether to believe her or not, but I know what it's like to tell my story and to have someone either tell me through the internet or to my face, you're lying or I don't believe you. And if Dr. Ford is not lying and what she's saying is true, it takes immense guts to go in front of the country to talk about these alleged things. And when Patrick was moving his boxes in, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, for all these years of my life, I have sat here quietly. I have sat here out of fear from him, out of fear of what my parents would do if I ever said anything. Like, a bunch of people wondered, when you turn 19, why didn't you go to the police? It is because I subconsciously knew my parents would be furious with me, and I knew that he would be furious if something happened. However, on this day, I decided, it's like, you know, I'm turning 20, because this was in September now. It's like, I'm turning 20. I'm turning 20 in a couple of months. I cannot live the next year of my life, or any year of my life, just sitting here in fear and submission and giving my brother, and my parents exactly what they want. They just want me to be quiet and pretend nothing has happened, because that's what makes it easier for them. They've said many times before, it would be easier for us if you would just do X, Y, and Z. If you just brush it off, if you forgot about it, if you forgave, if you repaired your relationship, because it is much easier for them to picture me and my brother as loving siblings, to not remember that he has punched me so hard in the face that my nose started bleeding, and we called my dad and we were both yelling at each other over the phone with my dad on speakerphone when that happened. It is much easier for them to not have that in their brains at all. It's much easier to move on and forget and be good. That is never going to happen. Even if I were to shut up and just keep myself pulled together and subconscious, like right here, just in my own little corner, pretending nothing ever happened, just stay quiet, just nothing, it would not change anything. So that day, I did what was the scariest thing for me to do in my entire life. I went to the police. Immediately after that, I left the apartment. I didn't say anything to him. I grabbed my things. I left the apartment. I came back here to grab some things that were important to me in case he came into my room to do something to them, because I wasn't sure if anyone was going to pick up on what I was doing. In fact, actually, no, I'm going to grab it. I contacted the Phoenix police, and I reported about the last time that he assaulted me. I feel like I have talked about that. It was in December 2014 of my sophomore year. I feel like I have talked about it before, but if not, I can tell it like another time. I don't want to go back over it again. So I went to the Phoenix police. I spoke to them in person. They highly recommended that I get a restraining order, and I have wanted a restraining order for years. All I have wanted from all of this in if I couldn't get anything else, if I could ask one thing in the situation, is that I would just need him to leave me alone, to never speak to me again, have absolutely no contact with me, to never see me in person or any of the people that I love and care about, including my friends, romantic partners, children I may have in the future, etc. If it were up to me, again, Eric and him would have never met. They met by complete accident. I'm going to show this to you just to show you that this exists because my mom likes to pretend that this doesn't exist. I went to the police. They wrote down the report number and what it was and the date and everything. They gave me this pamphlet and they just said, this is basically how you're going to get a fucking restraining order. You have every right to. However, the next morning, the police recommended I not tell my parents. However, the next morning I was having breakfast with my dad and he was talking about how happy he was going to be in the new apartment and how happy he was going to be able to see me. And I just couldn't do it. I had a giant panic attack and I just spilled everything. And to make everything much more summarized, I had to end up telling my mom. And they told my brother. And I was told that if I do get a restraining order, which yes, I can still do, that they would kick me out. That I would have 2 days to get my things out of the house and that was it, and they would never speak to me again. They have been supportive of him this entire way through because apparently I'm ruining his life and just a bunch of things that I don't want to go into. It's a bunch of just them bitching about how I ruined his life, I'm making life harder for him and everything. So moving on, my mom keeps talking about how there's no possible way I could get a restraining order and yada yada. In November, we go forward to November. In November, I got a new in-person therapist because my mom wanted me to go to a therapist to get my head clear about all the delusional thoughts that I was having with my PTSD, which she loves to acknowledge in certain situations. In certain situations, I'm not mentally ill. So I saw my new therapist, who is the best therapist that I've ever had, and I told him exactly what was going on in my house, and he's like, your parents are fucking abusive as well. And she asked me one day over lunch in November how my therapy appointment went, and I said it went really well. She wanted me to write a letter to Patrick apologizing for reporting the assault that did happen to me. And my therapist strongly recommended that I do not do that. And I told her, I said, I'm not going to do that. After they forced me to say yes, because it was made very clear if I didn't write the letter that I would get some kind of consequence. And then over lunch, I'm just like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna write a fucking letter apologizing for me going to the police reporting the last time that he assaulted me in 2014. She got angry about this, and then immediately the conversation transitions to, oh, by the way, you have 6 months to move out.
Shut the fuck up.
And since that incident in November, my parents have again acted like nothing is happening. They are trying to encourage me and Patrick to be in the same room together. I'm not allowed to see my dad or see his apartment because they're respecting his wishes of not letting me come visit my dad because he has PTSD, apparently. And he says he doesn't want me to visit because he's scared that I'll do something, but yet he comes to visit here almost every 2 weeks, girl. Do you realize how contradicting that is? Everybody. It's just a fucking joke. That's why I'm laughing and making a fucking noise. It's just a fucking joke. You know it's not a joke? This right here, because my mom tried to tell me that they tried to look up the assault number because I did hand this to her. And she's like, oh, we couldn't find it on the internet, so the report must not exist. It does exist. I'm holding the report number. I saw the police officer write it on a card and bring it into their car. I am holding the number. So it exists, and I was there when it happened. To keep out the tiny shit, I am planning to move out in May with a longtime friend. You guys might remember my friend Hannah and her boyfriend. And life will be very different for me in 2019. Now, after all that negative talk, I'm sure a lot of you are like, girl. Like, the year is like, yeah. 2018 was not a good year for me. Overall, it was a very big shit show. However, I'm looking at 2019 in a much more positive light. I have wanted to move out since I was 14, and I'm 20 now. And at first I was upset, like literally my parents are kicking me to the curb to protect my abusive brother. However, I want 2019 to be such a different year for me. I want it to be a year filled with me being surrounded by people who do love me, the people who know the truth about who I am and what I've been through, and I want to spend it being 100% me. So halfway through the year of this year, I will be documenting everything, but this will be a big thing for me. It really will. Because again, I've wanted to leave for years, and I'll finally be leaving and living with the person that I've wanted to live with for years, and she knows everything about this. Like, she's been in my house when some things have happened. And every friend that I have now is so good to me and knows the truth, and I could cry, like, about how happy it is that I'm finally surrounded by people who love and care about me. Because it's been so hard, like, the last 6 years of my life to find people who truly do care about me and know what is best for me and all that good stuff. I'm so thankful that for Eric, honestly, because this is not easy. Like, dating me is not easy. Dealing with this conundrum of a cloud over myself is not easy. He has been so supportive and patient through all this fuckery with my family. And he already works so hard. Like, he just started his first year in pharmacy school, and he works so hard at what he does. And, like, and he's doing science, like, things that I could never understand. So I'm thankful for him still being so patient with my bullshit when he's off doing, like, incredibly hard studies in school. So, that being said, I want this video to be kind of like a time capsule of where I am right now. I'm looking into 2019 with so many bright ideas. I don't think this year is going to be not filled with, like, bad shit happening, because I feel like it's just stupid to not expect something to go wrong. Living in a perfect world, shit's gonna happen. However, I'm looking at this year, like, this is the first time in a long time where I've really looked into a year with so much positivity and light and goals that I could have for myself. And I want to take you on that journey with me. I started this channel in 2011 and I was in a very, very dark place. If you've been here for a long time, you'll know the weird cringy videos that I would make when I was a kid. And to see remembering those videos and seeing even videos from like 4 or 5 years ago, like, so far that I've come is amazing to me. And to have anybody here, I'm still surprised that there are people here on this channel, but it doesn't matter if you've been here for a week or since the beginning. I love you so much. I cannot thank you enough for your support, just for being here, for following me anywhere on my social media. And to dive into my next topic, the film that I was just a part of, and the reason I'm mentioning this is not for, like, promotion or whatever. It's been so good to finally work on a film again. I have missed it. I haven't worked on anything since 2017. If you haven't seen the teaser trailer yet, I will have that linked up in the card and in the description box below, and I think at the end of this video as well. But we're doing a film, me and one of my close friends, Lewis. I've known him for 6 years this year now. He wanted to do a film about sexual assault, and we created something that we really, really love. I was the editor for the film, and I may or may not make a small cameo. We have it submitted to so many film festivals. We're waiting for the Phoenix Film Festival to get back to us, but it would mean so much to me and him if you did go watch it. I have we worked with so many amazing people on this film, and I'm so proud of it. I honestly am, and I'm proud of him because it takes a lot to put out a film. That being said, I do have many scripts in the works. I have so much stuff planned for this year, not just for YouTube, for all of my platforms, but I am going to be making a full comeback this year on YouTube. I had a full comeback planned for last year, and then hospitals and mental health happened. Mental health, I know, will still be a thing, but I totally want to give my YouTube channel a makeover this year. Do not worry, Sane's Forbidden Love will be continuing. New episode is coming soon. I'm excited for you guys to see the new place that I'll be living in with my friend. It's going to be such a positive, homey environment where all of our friends can come over and we can have fun, and she loves YouTube, and a bunch of stuff will be different this year, but it'll be a great different. So take a good look around you now, because this will be gone in 5 months. Also, I will let you know now that at the end of this month, I will be traveling to Chicago for the first time. Holy shit. I will be visiting one of my longtime internet friends, Tara, for the first time in person ever since we met on Tumblr. And I'm going to document as much as I can because I know it's going to be such a surreal experience. Again, I just want to thank you guys for being patient with me. I know that it's probably been confusing the last couple of months to be like knowing, like, people have asked if I'm quitting YouTube or just what am I doing. If you do want to keep up with me on a more regular basis, like everyday basis, I post very regularly on Instagram and my Twitter and my Snapchat. Everything that I have is linked down below in the description box, so if you want to keep up with me, like daily stuff, go to all those things if you haven't yet. I will be having regular uploads coming up very soon, and I'm having a really positive outlook on this year. Oh shit, I just realized. If you're not sure why I have black hair, then definitely go to my Instagram. I have it explained there. I have a hair highlights page on my Instagram where everything can be explained there. Oh my god, I completely forgot. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I'm sure maybe you guys were freaking out. I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you already knew from my profile picture. But yeah, I'm excited, you guys. That being said, if you have not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do that now and hit the bell, because YouTube hates me and smaller channels for some fucking reason. You need the bell, fam. And again, make sure you're following me on all of my other social media to stay up to date with everything. And this Saturday, January 12th, the film goes up on Panuzzi Pictures YouTube channel, and I cannot wait for you guys to see the film. I love you very, very much, and I will see you later.